For the past 2 years, I've run the Kilimanjaro half marathon. It's a pretty tough course. You run uphill for 300 meters or 1,000 feet, and then you turn around and you run back down. So it's kind of 10K up and 10K down. My goal this second time around was to beat my time from last year, and I got really close, but just missed it, under a minute off. But now I have Strava logs. I have the data from the same race 2 years in a row. So I wanted to nerd out a little bit and dive into the data and say, okay, what was the difference? What made last year's race a little bit faster? There are a couple of funny things in the data. First of all, like this year, it says I climbed more despite it being the same course. No idea why. But the total kind of, after I looked at everything, the answer in the difference in my result was far simpler than I had imagined. And overall, I found the data less insightful than I'd really hoped for. Basically, it all came down to the start. So as you can see from my footage from last year and this photo from the crowd at the start this year, it's super packed at the beginning of the race. There's tons of people, all kind of pushing forward into this kind of narrow gap of this road. And it's not broken up by pace, so everyone's starting together. And at the front of the crowd, there's a lot of people walking, big groups kind of all hanging out together. And we were just kind of later getting to the start line this year. And so we started further back than we did last year. And so it just took me longer to work my way through the crowd and get to the point where I was really able to run at the pace that I wanted to. That pretty much made the whole difference, I think, between the two races. If you look at my second kilometer splits for the race this year, I was still fighting the crowd, where last year I was able to break free and start to pick up the pace. So by the end of my second kilometer, I'm like a minute and a half behind my time last year, just because the second kilometer was a full minute slower than my second kilometer last year. So kilometer 3, things start to break up and I can start to run. I get up to pace, and then I started chipping away at that difference. So, it got up to 2 minutes, and then I started chipping it away until I got it back down to under a minute difference. So if anything, I think I ran it better this year. But in the end, the race didn't go as well because I didn't actually plan for all the challenges of the course, and I let myself get stuck in the crowd. So I guess the point of this video was to remind myself of two things. First, race day isn't all about fitness. It's about being prepared and planning for everything that you're going to encounter out there on the course. And second, don't let the numbers on my watch. I don't want that to determine how I feel about a race. I felt strong and I felt comfortable throughout the entire course this year, and much better than I felt last year. I was kind of dragging it in. So in the end, don't kind of let the overall race time determine how you feel and how happy you are with the outcome. And I won't. So anyway, on to the next race.